The European football season is now pretty much over. Teams have been promoted and relegated, and it's a great time now for you guys to start a new save in FM23. So today we're going to be giving you guys 5 save ideas that you might not have considered that could be great fun for you to try. We're going to be focusing on a few different kinds of saves, some about teams that need rebuilding, might have been relegated or have not done so well in recent years, and also look at some teams that have just been promoted and could be a really good story to try and continue on their good form. Now, some teams might be a bit more obvious, some you might not have even considered at all, but hopefully there'll be a save idea in here for everyone. If you do enjoy the video, smash that like button for us and subscribe for more. When you hit that like button, YouTube sees that and thinks, oh, must be a good video, and pushes it out to more people, which obviously helps us out. So if you could do that, we'd massively appreciate it. And with that being said, let's get right into it. The first team we're looking at is Genoa, a team out in the second division of Italy, or at least they were, because after a very good season this year, the team predicted to come second in the second division here in FM did actually go up, and next year when you play FM24, this team will now be back in Serie A. Now, there's a few reasons as to why we've picked these as a good save, but first, if you are someone that's wondering how can I play with Genoa in the first division like they are in real life without having to wait to FM24, well, check out our channel, because about a week ago we did a video on how you can have updated databases in your FM saves so that teams like Genoa will be promoted into the first division, your Wrexhams might be in League 2, and so on and so forth, Luton in the Premier League, all of that good stuff. We'll show you how to do that in a video about a week ago if you guys want to check that out. But yes, Genoa, a team that were in the first division for quite a while, going on in over a decade, and then got relegated into Serie B. They've made it now back into the first division, but this isn't just any Italian side. It's one of the most decorated sides in Italian football history. Granted, most of that did come from way back when. You can see here it's the 1900s where they won most of their trophies, but they do have 9 Italian first division titles, all before the Second World War, under their belt. They're a team with plenty of players that you might recognise from the past, some of them retiring, like Crisito here, who looks like he's hanging up his boots. I don't know whether he did in real life, but there are some names in there you will recognise. In terms of facilities, you can see their training facilities are good, as are their youth facilities. The coaching and recruitment could do with some work, but this is a team with a lot of history, founded so many years ago, and your job will be either in the normal FM database to get them promoted as they did in real life and win that Serie A title, or if you have an updated database, now you're already in the first division, try and stay up, and then push back up the table and win your first Serie A trophy for 100 years. Next, we head over to a team that I imagine you wouldn't have considered managing. We are going to the second division of Belgium, to Racing White Darling Molenbeek, also known as RWD Molenbeek. Now, this team is a very interesting one. You can see it was supposedly founded in 2015. That's because there was a merger between two clubs, one being a very successful side, and this side in 2015 found themselves in the 5th tier. But after some American investment within an 8-year period, this side has gone from strength to strength, promotion after promotion, getting themselves into the second division of Belgium. And in real life, despite being predicted 7th here in the 22-23 season, they've actually won the division, and they'll be going up to the first division of Belgium. Your job will be to continue this and try and push the team even further up the table. Now, just to let you know before we carry on talking about this team, the information that helped make this video was given to us by the brilliant Seabass, who's wrote 2 articles with plenty more teams than what we're covering here about promoted and relegated teams that you could manage, and I'll link both of them below. If my 5 picks aren't enough, there's plenty of other good options there, but this Belgium side would be great fun to try and continue their progress up the divisions. Formed in 2015, to have them all the way in the first division within 10 years is very impressive. You can see a lot of players are loaned in, but this is actually a very young squad, and Belgium is a league known for producing lots of great young players that eventually go on for more. Here's their hot prospect. Does he actually look any good? He's alright for sure, but this is what you'll be after, trying to produce some good young talent to help you challenge the big ones, the likes of Anderlecht, who are going to be up there, as well as Club Brugge, Antwerp and Genk. But even though they're founded in 2015, this is a side with history, because like I say, there were merged teams that made this club in 2015, and one of them was a regular European challenger. I'm not saying they were going to win European trophies, but they were regularly in European competition. If you haven't tried managing in Belgium, then this could be great fun. For the next save, we are heading over to Poland. Again, this comes from the great article from Seabass. I didn't know what had happened to this team, but we are looking at Polish side Lechia Gdańsk here. Apologies for any pronunciation issues there. But they are a pretty reputable team out in Poland. 40,000 capacity stadium, predicted to come 5th in their league. They've also been in European competition in recent time. If we have a look at their history, they've won an FA Cup back in 2019. In 2020, they were runners-up. They won the Super Cup in 2019. But again, this is a team that had a lot of expectation around them, at least in the FM world, predicted to come 5th. They actually dissolved as a club back in the early 2000s and had to work their way up from the low tiers of Polish football. After a good push, they got to the first division and they've been competing high up in the tables regularly, at least a mid-table side at the very least. And as you can see, we're getting European competition in 2 of the last 4 seasons. But now, after a poor year, they found themselves getting relegated into the second division. Your job will be to stop that going any further, put the brakes on their fall down the table, and hopefully take them straight back up so they don't start a downward slide all the way to where they came from. Once you take them back into the first division, your job will be to become the most reputable side out in Poland, and then eventually try and push on for some European glory with a Polish side. It definitely won't be easy, but it'll be great fun. Also building the nation of Poland in terms of football and talent. These kind of saves are always so fun to do. Going out to a nation you wouldn't normally manage in can be so fun. So let me know if any of you are willing to give that a go, and let's get on to our final 2 teams. Before we go on though, I'd like to let you guys know I do have my own channel linked in the description where, like I'm talking about here, we take on clubs that are struggling and we try and rebuild them and make them do well. In single one-off videos, we cover 5 seasons in the space of about 25 minutes. You guys seem to love the videos, and recently we had a bit of a change around on the channel to feature more of them, and things are going really well. So if you want to come and check that out, I'd greatly appreciate it. But back to the save ideas for you guys. Next, we're heading over to Scotland, which is a place where I've had one of my favourite saves ever when I managed Aberdeen, and we are looking at Dundee United, a side in the first division of Scotland, although that isn't the case any longer. And that's very, very surprising, because if we have a look at their history, you can see they were in the second division about 5 or so years ago, but then they were on a very steady rise, doing better and better each year. They've been producing good young players along the way. You can see their side is very young and focused on bringing that youth talent through, and it's worked for Dundee United. They got themselves fairly high up in the division, got themselves in the Conference League, where in real life they ended up playing AZ Alkmaar. But this was a team that got themselves European football, and things looked like they were on the way up for Dundee United. It was the next step in where they wanted to go, and they would have hoped they could have pushed on even further than that after this season, but it wasn't to be. They found themselves slipping all the way now back into the second division. Your job will be to drag them up again. You've still got these good young talents on your hands, and you've still got good infrastructure to produce more good young players. You'll want to improve it, but it is still at a decent level, and hopefully you can have some more good young talent come through. Build around that, take the team back up into the first division, use this relegation as motivation for your young players. It will teach them a lot, and then you can drag them hopefully back up to the top and overthrow that dominance between Celtic and Rangers that there's been for, I think it's the last 40 years now, isn't it? Something crazy like that. Yeah, there you go. 1984 was the last time anyone other than Rangers and Celtic actually won the league. So your job will be to try and change that. It won't be easy at all, considering the domination in the division currently. If you haven't tried managing in Scotland, I really do recommend it. It's great fun, and you can try and take this team right to the very top of the Scottish table. And finally, we're looking at a side that is just going from worse to worse in recent news. It is Wigan Athletic, who finished bottom of the Sky Bet Championship this year, as they were predicted to do. They're predicted to come 24th. They had a 3-point deduction at the start of the season, and it featured that way exactly. They ended up finishing in last place. They've dropped to League One, but it's got even worse than that, because before the season's even started, they have been guaranteed another points deduction. Supposedly, they haven't paid their players on time, and many of the players now are considering leaving. There was also a big fine that the owners had to pay. And considering where Wigan were 10 years ago, I mean, me growing up watching the Premier League in that 2000s era, Wigan were a side that were around the top division for quite a while, never really being amazing, but being consistently around there. Famously, 10 years ago, they won the FA Cup against Manchester City, and yeah, it's just not been great. They slipped slid all the way down into League One, made their way back up, but now they're going to fall back into it again. And whilst it's not something that anybody really wants to happen, who's to say Wigan don't get relegated again and become a team that, because of all their financial difficulties, just have to give in. We really hope it doesn't get to that point, and your job in the world of Football Manager, a bit lighter than what's happening in real life, will be to take over and try and fix that situation, drag Wigan back into the Prem. It will take a lot of work, whether you start with them in the Championship or you use an updated database and use them in League One. It's going to be very hard to do, but once you eventually get there to the Premier League, can you win some more trophies, whether that's an FA Cup, whether that's the Premier League title? It's up to you guys how far you want to go. I'm actually not sure how well their financial situation is represented in game, but in real life it really doesn't look good, so your job will be to try and correct that the best you can. If you want your save to stay in England, then Wigan could be a great team for you. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Who will you be managing? And if you have enjoyed, smash the like button for us, but most of all, have a great day and I'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.